Nice to see you both. Nice to see you, Rob, as well. First of all, start off with the selections you've been able to make. The outstanding one that looks like just a marvellous story is the selection now of David Brooks. We've been talking for him for a while, but you've now been able to select him, not just to come into camp, but you're able to select him to play. How did that decision come about, and maybe what does it mean?
Well, I wanted to pick him in March, if I'm being honest. As soon as I knew he was fit and available, I saw that he'd played some minutes before our camp in March, and I was keen to get him involved as soon as possible. The changes I wanted to make post-World Cup, Brooks is definitely part of that in how we want to play, and I see him fitting into it. So I was desperate to get him involved back then. It was too quick, too soon, I get that. And it was more beneficial for him to stay behind, and I think there was an under-23 game organised for him specifically. So... But now it's a different situation, different circumstances. He's back fit, playing, starting games in the Premiership. And when you've got somebody of Brooks' quality, I've just spoke, that he's big to the plans that I want to do moving forward as well. I've touched base with him via text yesterday, and he can't wait to get on camp. He's really excited of meeting back up with the players. So it's a great addition for us.
How do you have to manage David Brooks of now as opposed to before the illness? Is there a different way that he has to be looked after because of what he's been through?
Yeah, that's a great question, Garen. I think a little bit of common sense, but we've got one of the best medical teams. I keep saying this, when needed, when called upon. We've got one of the best medical teams, so they'll be in contact with Bournemouth as well. We'll absolutely show them that respect, and it's all about Brooksy. It's all about his health, and it's all about getting him in the best place. And if we have to tweak his sessions throughout the week, his load-ins, then we will do. And understandably, from what his body's been through, he's going to pick up the odd little minor injury, soft tissue injury. So we'll manage him slightly different, no doubt. And it's all about getting him ready and fit for the match day.
And where do you think he is in terms of that road to maybe getting back to the potential that he showed? Before his illness, he was being linked with Manchester United.
Yeah.
But where is he on reaching the potential that so many people think he has?
Well, I think he's going to have to be patient as well. I can only imagine how frustrating it is for him to have been in that position, linked with top clubs like you've just alluded to, and he's going to have to work his way back up to that form. Of course, he's a gifted footballer, he won't lose that, but it's how now he gets his body in a physical condition to be able to cope with the demands of what top football gives you. Is he going to start 2 games for me in June? Probably not. It might be that he has little cameo roles, but again, we'll assess that when we get him on camp on the 8th.
In terms of a couple of other, Nico had that horrendous injury playing for Forest with the jaw. Touch and go for selection, or was that always going to be okay for his recovery?
No, again, I've touched base with Nico. He's not played the last game of the season. He's not played many minutes because of the significance of the injury, but he's away at the moment. But he'll be fit for camp.
So could play both games. If selected.
Thanks, Karen. If selected, yeah, he's fit for camp. So it's great to have every player available to us.
Somebody that's not going through a great time at the moment, still in hospital, Tom Lockyer. Prior to whatever happened at the weekend, was he part of your plans for this squad?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when he's had the season he's had, I think he's been incredible. I spoke to him yesterday. I had 20 minutes on the phone with him yesterday. He's in a good place. He's frustrated and disappointed, obviously. I'm not going to go into detail of what's happening and what's going to happen. That's conversations that we'll be having with Luton Town Football Club. But of course, when he's had the season he's had, he was obviously going to be in my plans. But the most important thing in this, Garen, is health again. This is all about him now getting him back to full health and wishing him well.
Listen, clearly you're not going to divulge what happened in the conversation, but there's rumours coming out that Tom's trying to discharge himself and trying to get out.
I can see that.
Yeah.
He's
just
that type.
What was he like? Can you give us a sense of how he was, sort of emotionally and physically, from what you could tell from a phone call?
Well, he was all right. He was grateful for the conversation. I was never in question. You're always going to phone your players and show them support. And that's what it was. It was just to say that we're here for him in any capacity, and he was okay. He was pleased with the season he's had, and rightly so. He's pleased with now being a part of it. It's an incredible story, and for that football club to get promoted to the Premiership in the manner in which they have done is incredible. And he was a massive part of that. I've seen some of the goals he scored, some of the set pieces, attacking the ball far post. It's Tom Lockyer, so I can see why he's climbing the walls and wanting to discharge himself.
Just one more on Tom. Fingers crossed that everything is okay. But you've got a player playing regularly and going to be playing regularly in the Premier League. How good is that for you?
Brilliant. It's that's what we want. We want our players playing top level football. That's how we're going to improve as a nation. That's how we're going to continue to qualify for major tournaments, by having our players playing at the very top level, and the Premiership is that. So yeah, it gives us a good problem.
Last one for me before I hand to Rob. Just a couple of injuries from the last camp. Obviously, you lost Ben Davies and Brennan Johnson as well. I suppose, how key is it to bring Brennan back in? Because let's just say there was some controversy about the injury back in March, and I know you were annoyed, but you dealt with it behind closed doors. But just, how easy will it now to be reintegrated with the squad and having both those players back fit?
Easy, no problem for Brennan. There's no issues at all. That was in the past. We've dealt with it. We move forward, and what two great additions back into the squad. I think off the back of March we had two good results. And two very good performances, and we want to build on that. And to help us build on that, we've got two players playing in the Premiership to come back into it. So it doesn't always work that way. It's never always guaranteed to get the results you want, but it'll give us a greater opportunity then to get the results we want by having those two Premiership players available for selection.
Cheers, Rob.
Thanks, Garrett.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
On Tom Lockyer, I know you're at the coaching conference of the weekend, but when you saw what happened to him, it's always distressing when a footballer goes down off the ball when no one's near him. What were your thoughts?
Well, look, I can't speak from a medical point of view, but knowing that I've worked with Tom for some years now, of course, you don't like to see any player go down injured. And you're right, because of how he went down, you do wonder what the reasons were. But it'll be silly of me to even suggest what those reasons were. So he's in good hands at the minute, and that's for Luton to make a statement with regards to what they're doing. But for us, it's just about him getting him fit and well and ready for our camp then in September.
But it's fair to say it's more distressing when that happens than you can see an obvious injury. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, but the most important thing is I spoke to him. I had a 20-minute conversation with him yesterday, so he's fine.
You know what sort of character he is. He's got the character to come through whatever, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I felt for him yesterday because the day before, he more than anybody's deserved to walk those Wembley steps and lift that trophy. In my opinion, I might be a little bit biased because he's a Welshman, but I think the season he's had has been incredible. And would they have got promoted without him? Probably not, if I'm being honest, because he's been that key to their performances this season. So I was disappointed for him and his family not to have had that moment to walk those steps. That would have been a very special moment for him. But knowing Tom as I do, he'll bounce back from this, no issues whatsoever, and there'll be plenty more of those moments to come from.
Yeah, and he's got so much to look forward to, hasn't he? Because he's never played at that level.
No, that's right. It's an exciting time for him. I said that to him yesterday. He's had an unbelievable season, and only good things will come for him now for next season.
With Nico's jaw injury, is there always a concern that he might take a knock in training or whatever? So how will you have to deal with his problems going into camp or whatever?
Yeah, you can't take away every risk, and I think he's got a protection to wear for that reason, for contact. It still doesn't take away the fact if he gets a ball in the face, or he's so many weeks down the line as well now, so that the opportunity of that refraction is very unlikely, I'd say. So he's another one who's looking forward to coming on camp. We'll get the medical team to assess him like we do every single player that comes on camp, and we'll take away as much risk as possible.
And with David Brooks, it's poignant, isn't it? Because without the FAW medical staff that you talk so highly about, this may never have been discovered what happened to him. Yeah,
it was John, our doctor, that we were all passing comment on how he looked and how he trained, and because you do as coaches, you monitor the players daily, and we had a conversation with the medical team, and it was the medical team that decided there and then to go and take tests, and it was those tests that identified what he had, and so Brooksy has been grateful and thankful to the medical team, and rightly so. But the medical team do deserve a lot of credit, and it's great for everybody's point of view now to see him back in the place that he's in.
You've been so close to him for so long with the Sheffield United connection, And I remember you saying you took him down to meet Chris Coleman because you realised he was such a big talent beyond the under-21s. What has it meant to you to see the way he's come back?
Yeah, an awful lot, Rob. Yeah, you're right. My first game away with the 21s was Switzerland. We won 3-0 and he scored one of the best goals I've ever seen a young lad score. And I phoned Chris straight away, who was the manager at the time, and I went, look, he's too good for our under-21s. You've got to get him with the first team. And we took Brooksy to meet him and Kit at the time, and the rest is history, as they say. So for me personally, of course, I've worked with a lot of those players in the first team at the minute through the younger age groups, and Brooksy is one of them, and it's great for me personally to see his development over the last couple of years as well.
One or two, you've always got injury worries with squads. Danny Ward's dislocated finger. What's the prospects there?
No, everything's fine with Wardy. They're always it's at the end. This camp in June is a difficult one for many reasons. Making sure they stay fit from the end of the season up until the camp. They're always going to pick up little niggles along the way. I don't think you're ever going to get a player that comes in fully fit. So he's fit for camp. He may have little niggles along the way, but he's another one I spoke to yesterday, and he's raring to go. He can't wait. He can't come quick enough.
And Aaron, has he been on to you? You said before when you named him captain, he'd rung you loads of times to talk about the camp or whatever. How is his state of mind and where he is at Nice at the moment?
He's in a good place. He's in a very good place. Yeah. All right. He's had a little issue, which is not a big issue in the grand scheme of things with regards to meeting us on camp. I have had a couple of conversations with him regarding the planning of the camp, and he's fully on board with it, and is again another one looking forward to getting there.
So will he be in Portugal with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ben Davis back, which is always a help. And one newcomer, Joe Lowe. Tell us about him.
Yeah, I worked with Joe a few years ago with the younger age groups, and he was a presence then. But the way he's developed over the last couple of years has been incredible. We're blessed at the minute, so we've got probably 4 or 5 players that we could consider to step up again, along with the Luke Harrises of the world and JJs and Ruben Colwell that we've put back down with Matty for the 21s, purely to just get him capped in games. And Joe, the benefit of having that camp we had last week, where we had the 21s on camp, and this is what I've said, moving forward, I want us to be on camp with the 21s, or the 21s to be on camp with us, so that we can get close eyes on the players. He impressed me last week. That was his opportunity to shine, and he did. His physicality, his defending, his attitude, his presence. He ticked a lot of boxes. So, okay, we might not need him throughout the camp, but I think it's just as important to expose him to our environment and get him up with the players and test him a little bit and give him an introduction into what first team life is like.
See, the worry is a commentator on his dad, which is a big concern. It happens more and more. Just finally, you've got the 2 games in quick succession, but Turkey is always a place that you get, it's like they don't have the banners "Welcome to Hell" and all this sort of stuff. What are you expecting in Turkey? What atmosphere are you expecting?
When you come against opposition like that, we have nothing but respect for them, absolutely. Our reference now has to be Croatia, Rob. So you don't get a more probably intimidating place and a more difficult place to go than Split and play against a team like Croatia. So that's our reference. If we can go there and give a performance like that, with a depleted squad as well, I might add, it bodes well. It doesn't guarantee that we can go and get the result we want, but it gives us a better opportunity. So we know what we're up against. We've got nothing but respect for them. It'll be a tough place. It'll be an intimidating place, but we've proven against top teams, 3rd in the world, that we can go and more than acquit ourselves.
All the best.
Thanks Rob. Ta.
Lawrence. Cheers, Rob. Just to go back to David Brooks, it's going to be quite emotional to see him sort of back in camp and back with that Wales kit on again. Yeah,
from the players as well. He's a big character in that changing room, and the players, no doubt they'll have their moment. And the first day he comes on camp, we're meeting in Portugal on the 8th. The players are going to meet us, and no doubt they'll have a moment together themselves.
Because he was really heart of some of those young players like the Harry Wilsons and Dan Jameses, and they're such a tight-knit group, aren't they? Yeah, they are, absolutely. And I think Locks is probably one of Brooks's best mates. So it'll be an emotional camp, but in a positive way, so we won't
we won't dwell on it too much. There'll be moments where we can welcome him back in, and then we get on with work as usual.
Just looking at a stat that came out the other day, there's more Premier League minutes played by Welsh players this season for a good number of years. I think the last one was 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
What does that say about these youngsters and where they're going at the moment? And why is it important for Wales?
Well, it's important for Wales because I said earlier that we want our players playing at top level football week in, week out. We've never had the luxury of bringing our players in. We're always gathering the data and going, right, well, he needs a top up, he needs a top up. Now, we're probably in the best place, like you just said, for a few years, which when you've got full available players that are playing in the Premiership, of course, it heightens the opportunities to get wins. So that's how it benefits us. They've developed really well over the last couple of years as well. We've seen it at international level, but at club level as well. H has got more minutes. DJ's been playing, got back in the team. It's been a frustrating season for him, but when he's played, he's done okay. Kiefer got some minutes at the back end of the season. Meps has played in the Premiership as well. So you're right, we've got more and more players playing top level football, which is only going to help us.
Just looking at a couple of names maybe that didn't make it, but Aaron Collins, I think fans are sort of questioning there. Where are we with Aaron, and how close is he?
I'm in constant contact with the other coaches that have eyes on him every week, and if we thought he was ready, if there was anybody out there that's not in the squad, it's for a reason. So we're not. It's not that we don't know about him, or they're all in the system. And when the time is right, we will introduce him up to the squad. We're aware of him, and he's had a great season. So. We'll continue to monitor, and when we feel the time is right, we'll introduce him to the group.
The other one was Wes Burns. Is it an injury that's just a...
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Wes is injured. He's had an ongoing issue for the back end of the season, which they've managed to get him through to the end of the season. But it's something that they need rectifying now before the start of the next season, which I completely get. I had a phone call with him yesterday as well, and he's disappointed, but he's got to think of the club as well and his season next season. It's if we can get the whatever he needs done now, and then we'll have him fit and available for September.
I know you mentioned Aaron and a slight problem. Could you just give us a sort of insight into that?
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it might have been a slight tear again, but nothing significant that's going to keep him out. So he's back, he's fit, and looking forward to camp. Thank you.
Just a quick one, Rob. The significance and the importance of doing this here in the Estate Club for you personally.
It's my debut. I'm looking forward to it. I've just met some kids. There's a load of kids in bucket hats out there, which is great. For me, this is about giving something back. The support that they've shown us over the last couple of years, but certainly for the World Cup, being a part of Qatar and from a cultural point of view as well, the effort they put in for us. The travelling our supporters do from all over Wales. This is why we try to mix it up by going to North Wales, West Wales. We have our training camps in South Wales. We play in South Wales. So it's about us showing our support back as well, and bringing something back up, and enjoying the day, the cultural day. It's been nice so far. I'm looking forward to spending the afternoon with the kids as well.
Okay, brilliant. Diolch yn fawr.